You start everything, you finish nothing. There's actually a name for what you are. Stick with me. I have a confession that sounds like a humble brag but isn't. I'm really good at starting things. New project lands on my desk and I can see the whole thing, the shape of it, what it could be. I get excited in a way that's hard to fake and impossible to schedule. Within days, I've got a framework, a rough plan, and a team half convinced it's possible. Then, about the time it starts to work, I get the itch. Not boredom exactly, more like completion. Like there's another blank map somewhere that has my name on it. For most of my life, I thought this was a flaw. It turns out it's a job description. I just didn't know what the job was called. I'm an architect. Not the kind with blueprints and hard hats. The kind who designs the ideal, hands it to engineers, and trusts them to build it. Most useful at the beginning when everything is still possibility. Architects don't lay every brick. That's not abandonment. That's the division of labor working exactly as intended. The AuDHD brain is genuinely wired for this. I say that having spent decades being embarrassed by mine. It scans forward constantly. Pattern recognition at speed. Terrible at the maintenance phase. Extraordinary at the blank page phase. I used to apologize that. I don't anymore. But it's a gift that only works if you use it responsibly. Here's the shadow side. Pioneer and Escapist look identical from the outside. They both start with energy. Both hand things off. Both disappear before the last thing is finished. The Escapist starts things to avoid the discomfort of depth. The moment real patience is required, he finds a reason to move on. He tells himself he's a visionary. He's actually conflict averse. I know this because I've been him. The pioneer builds before leaving. He plants the flag, then he stays long enough to make sure that someone can hold it. One is a calling, the other one is an excuse. The responsibility arc has 4 beats. First, start the thing. You cast the vision, build the framework, get the right people excited. Next, you build the team. You find people who are better than you at the parts that you're not good at. You honor the settlers. They're not lesser pioneers. They're doing the harder work. Stay engaged long enough for the thing to stand on its own. The people you recruited trusted your vision. You owe them your presence until you don't need it anymore. Now train your replacement. That's non-negotiable. If you leave without doing this, you haven't pioneered anything. You've just made a big mess with good intentions. Then go. The theological version of this has been sitting in front of me for years. Jesus spent 3 years building something. He didn't just preach and disappear. He poured himself into 12 people until they could carry it without him. He trained his replacements, all 12 of them. He made sure the thing would outlast his physical presence. That's the pioneer done right. Forward-facing, novelty-hungry, pattern-recognizing brain is genuinely useful. God wires some people this way on purpose, but the gift comes with weight. You plant the flag, you build the settlement, you find the mayor, teach them everything you know, then you walk away in that order. I'm still working on this. The itch comes. The new thing still calls louder every time. I've learned to ask the question before I answer the call. Have I done the work of leaving well? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes it's not yet. That distinction between leaving and leaving well might be the whole thing. Fearfully and wonderfully made doesn't mean easily made. The pioneer brain is a gift. Learning to use it responsibly is the work. If you want to go deeper on this, the resource I mentioned in the letter is Extreme Ownership by Jocko, Willink, and Leif, Babin. Own it fully, all the way down to training the person who replaces you. It lands differently when you read it through this lens. If this names something that you've been carrying, that's what the unfinished man is. 1 letter a week for men figuring it out, the Lake diagnosis and what it means for how they work, believe, and live. It's free. Links in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.